Well, LifeBlood, this is George G, and the time is right. Welcome to today's guest, strong and powerful Navid Alipour. Navid, are you ready to do this?
I am George. Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you on. Let's go. Navid is the founder and CEO of AI Med Global. They're an organization focused on using AI to improve healthcare and save lives. Navid, tell us a little bit about your personal life, some more about your work, and why you do what you do.
Absolutely, would be happy to. So, I'll start it off. I joke that my wife and I are the black sheep of the family, and that everyone's a doctor. My father's a retired cardiologist. Both my brothers are doctors. Her dad, her stepdad, her sister. We went to the dark side of the law and business, as they say. But healthcare has always been, what I've been most passionate about. And what we do at AI Met Global, which is comprised of two companies we started, CureMatch and CureMetrics, is essentially helped detect cancer earlier and better, specifically in our women's health suite of breast cancer. And we also detect heart disease from that same mammogram. So no extra radiation, no pain, no discomfort. That's nothing additional. And so we could talk about that because heart disease is called the silent killer amongst women, where 65% sadly die on that first heart attack, completely asymptomatic. They had no idea they had heart disease. And then CureMatch, we've co-founded that with an amazing lady by the name of Dr. Rizal Kurzrock. That's Kurzrock for your listeners. If they Google her, they'll find a ton of content. Truly a world-renowned, one of the top oncologists in the world. And what we do at CureMatch, it's for all patients that have cancer, not just women. And it's any cancer, not just breast cancer. And if a doctor wants to recommend a 3-drug combination, there's literally over 4.5 million combinations. So it's beyond human cognition to process that. So that's where our AI comes in. And based on the patient's specific molecular profile of their cancer that we get from a next generation sequencing panel, we don't do that part. Other companies do that. But as our input, and based on our database that we're always curating with our clinical team, we'll match and produce our report for the doctor and the patient to say, here's the recommended combinations that would be specific to this person's cancer. So true precision medicine.
Nice. How'd you find yourself immersed in the world of cancer treatment, prevention, detection?
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of serendipity in how this all happened. And initially, my business partner Blaise Barlet and we had started a small LLC at the time, Analytics Ventures, to invest our own capital. Right now, and then we did raise a dedicated fund afterwards. But before we raised the dedicated fund, we were investing in existing software companies, mostly here in San Diego. And we got approached like a cold email at our info at address, which is, as you know, most of those emails are just spam and vendory, right? But luckily we saw this one. It was some scientists out of UCSD, which you may or may not know is truly one of the epicenters, one of the birthplaces of artificial intelligence. And these guys were rocket scientists, had literally done work for NASA. And they reached out to us, no business plan, no business model. They said, hey, we're these, machine learning experts. Anywhere you could apply AI to make a prediction, a recommendation, a forecast, or detect anomalies that don't belong, there's an opportunity to increase efficiencies and increase revenue, decrease costs in the business sense. And we said, well, look, we're in San Diego. It's a healthcare town. How can we apply AI to prolong lives and save lives? And in the interest of time, that's where we came up with the idea of CureMetrics. So we literally co-founded CureMetrics with these scientists. And then about 1.5 years after that, my business partner got cancer. And because of that, we met Dr. Kurzrock. I'm happy to say he's cancer-free because of combination therapies. But if he never got cancer, CureMatch would never exist. And so that's where, truly make lemonade out of lemons, right? We met her. We saw the amazing work she was doing. And we said, Dr. Kurzrock, this is amazing, but, you're just one person. How can we scale this to impact more lives? And that was the genesis of CureMatch.
That is incredible right there. Just serendipity. Everything kind of comes together.
It really is. And, there's a saying, I forgot who it was. It was older VC. He said, everyone gets lucky in life. It's just better to get lucky early.
Mm.
And I think we did. There was a certain amount of luck and timing that comes into play, but you also have to be prepared to take advantage of that opportunity, to see the opportunity, or it passes you by.
So with I'm going to mix the two companies up. I think with Metrics, you have the opportunity to do one mammogram and detect breast cancer and heart disease. How did you come to recognize that?
So we it was crazy. And really we did not plan on it at all. When we started the company, it was just to detect breast cancer. And again, we're 100% digital. We're software, right? On both company arms. And so our software goes on any machine that the radiologist, the imaging center has. It could be a GE machine, a Hologic machine, you name it. And so our focus was let's develop the software that's best in the world to detect breast cancer. Now, in any mammogram, with the human eye, you can see some lines like look like little worms. That's calcification building up in the arteries. We all have this happen as we get older, men and women, all over our bodies, frankly. But blood flows faster through the heart, so it takes longer to build up in the heart. In the breast tissue, in the arteries and capillaries, blood doesn't flow as fast, so it builds up earlier. So it's truly the earliest detection of heart disease. And with women, the reason it's the silent killer is because they don't have the same symptoms men have and are often discounted by the healthcare system. So they might be fatigued, and the doctor, doesn't pick that up as a sign of potential heart disease. Whereas men, we tend to have chest pain, shortness of breath. You go to the doctor, they tell you eat better, exercise, and they put you on statins. Hopefully, no surgery is needed. They catch it early enough. Do the EKG, the stress test, all that. Just getting on a statin reduces the risk of a cardiac event by 50 to 60%. So if a woman is 40 years old, goes in for her first mammogram, because this is built into our healthcare system, right? That by a certain age, go in for a mammogram every so often, right? At a certain cadence. So she might not be a triathlete, but she's in good shape. Exercises, eats reasonably well, doesn't know that she has heart disease in the family, and they can detect calcification early on. Well, now she gets sent to the cardiologist. She gets an EKG, she gets a stress test. She knows that this is a condition that she can now be proactive about and gets on the medication that's necessary. And now she has potentially eliminated or delayed a cardiac event, a heart attack, right? Instead of, at 52 or 49 or 55, having a heart attack, and now, you're behind the 8 ball for the rest of your life, assuming you survive that event. And so that's where, when we saw these calcifications, one of our investors and advisors is a very well-known cardiologist by the name of Dr. Matthew Budoff. And he got pretty excited about this. Another cardiologist, Dr. Dennis Arabi in Newport Beach, is one of our investors. He said, hey, there's definitely something here. And so with these cardiologists that had invested in the company and were advisors, we developed this new product line specific for heart disease detection from the same mammogram again. And that's where, not to take anything away from breast cancer, but detecting heart disease earlier is truly, I think, where we'll make the biggest impact.
Got it. That is incredible. So, and always trying to remove friction, right? So if I'm already going in for a scheduled procedure like mammogram in this example, I can get the benefit with the same scan for cancer. With the other with Cure Match, how are you trying to make that easier to deliver as well?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked that, George. So, as Wayne Gretzky always said, skate to where the puck is going to be, right? So with Cure Match, we're doing a lot of that, right? Where it's a decision support tool. So whereas Cure Metrics is a diagnostic. So for Cure Metrics, we have to go through FDA, get FDA clearance, which we got one, and we're slated to get the rest, hopefully, knock on wood, soon here. With Cure Match, it's decision support. and so it doesn't need FDA clearance. It's ultimately up to the oncologist to determine what care to provide for their patient, because they have the other information. Are they obese? How old are they? Do they smoke? All that information on top of having a cure match report, and then they could decide what treatment and what care to provide for that patient. But right now, it's paid for out of pocket. There's no CPT code for it, so the patient has to pay out of pocket, or the labs that do the next generation sequencing bake it into their costs, or the concierge medicine practices, bake it into their costs. So it's a bit of a build it and they will come. But this is just around the corner. Even the most conservative doctors and individuals are now saying that combination therapies are the future. And again, that's where we come in. And there's a saying, and I didn't invent this, but AI is not going to replace the doctor, but the doctor using AI will replace the doctor that is not.
Which makes all the sense in the world. You talked about how there's millions and millions of different combinations that would not be knowable. So even if I was doing medicine for 40 years and I've got this wealth of experience, there's still no way that my brain could compute the same way that the AI does.
Exactly. I mean, I think you got it. You hit the nail on the head there. And I mean, Dr. Kurzrock was at MD Anderson. She was at Moore's Cancer Center, world-renowned cancer institutes. And with that, they're sitting in these what's called tumor boards. So every Wednesday, the oncologists get together around a table and discuss the cases of the patients. And she looks around, and doctors, including herself, are literally Googling, what different combinations there might be. And you just can't do that. And so that was kind of the light bulb moment that there's got to be something better than this. And, an analogy that I came up with that she liked was, it's kind of like we've built Excel for oncologists, right? Excel didn't replace your CPA or my CPA. If anything, there's more CPAs. It's a tool to empower them to process more data faster, more efficiently, and with less human error.
I love it. So what do you and AI Med Global need more of? Is it awareness? Is it funding?
All of the above. We're of course screaming from the mountaintops what we do, so people are aware. So doctors are aware, patients are aware, and they can ask and advocate for themselves. And increasingly, I think, and I think this is a good thing, that patients are advocating for themselves more, getting second opinions or even third opinions, especially when it's a life-altering, threatening disease, right? And I know your podcast focuses, of course, a lot on wellness and longevity, and of course, eating better and exercising and taking the right vitamins and probiotics, and that's all important, and getting good sleep and whatnot. But you can do all of that and still have cancer, right? Unfortunately. And so that's where having technologies that can then help detect that cancer earlier, help get the best treatment as early as possible to the patient. Not, oh, let's try this first. It's kind of the standard of care. And if it doesn't work, we'll come to try your technology. No, let's do this first thing. And I think that's where we're going, where, I don't want to call it malpractice, but it's going to get to the point where even insurance companies are going to say, we're not going to pay for these treatments unless you've done next generation sequencing, which to the layperson, I say it's like the 23andMe of that patient specific cancer. Now, just to focus on that for a second, this is really important because cancer, Dr. Kurzrock, being Canadian by birth, always says is like a snowflake. No two snowflakes ever look the same. So why should one lung cancer patient get the same treatment as the next one, the next one, the next one, right? And so now we have the technology where these labs, some of them are big public companies like Guardant or Foundation Medicine, which Roche owns, and other ones are private or small ones. And they'll, using an Illumina machine, a Thermo Fisher machine, they'll sequence the cancer biopsy that's sent to them, and they'll produce their report. It's a 31 page PDF. That's, again, like the 23andMe of that patient-specific cancer. So I think that's where we're going, is that insurance companies, the payers, are going to say, we're not going to pay for these drugs unless you've done NGS on the patient, next generation sequencing, and can show why you're asking to pay for these drugs and why it's right for this patient. So again, skate to where the puck is going to be. I think that is the future. As it is, over 40% of drugs administered to cancer patients are already off label and in combination of other drugs. And that percentage is only going up. It's not going to go down. And that's a good thing for all of us. God forbid we get cancer or our loved ones get cancer.
Yeah. It's also a good thing, probably, that you can make a beneficial case to insurance companies that this is something that is good for them rather than taking away from them or making their lives harder.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but you got to follow the money. And the pharma companies and the payers are the deepest pockets in healthcare. And so if you could help them take care of their covered lives better while reducing wasteful spending, then you just hit two birds with one stone with insurance companies. And on the pharma side, in fact, we have a clinical trial intelligence platform, a CureMatch, where we could help select which patients or how to set up the clinical trial where they'll have a higher efficacy and a better response rate. And so we can help, in short, get oncology drugs to market faster, which, yes, the pharma company is going to make money faster, but that means there's patients that are going to benefit earlier as well. And so that's where we really come at what we do at AI Med Global with our CureMetrics and CureMatch arm with a sense of urgency, because if we can move one day faster, that's someone's life we're going to impact.
Makes sense. I love it. Well, Navid, thank you so much for coming on. Where can people learn more about you, and how can they engage with AI Med Global, CureMatch, and CureMetrics?
So, no, thank you for having me again, George. And we're very easy to find, aimedglobal.com, which you go to the website, it'll drive you to CureMatch or Metrics, or you could look up CureMetrics, CureMatch separately. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, as I'm myself. And so if anyone wants to reach out to learn more, please do so. And I'll also share that for CureMatch, we have a program that we're going to launch here during the holidays. It's already live, but we're going to promote it more, called the Gift of CureMatch, where someone could purchase a CureMatch report for a loved one or relative or friend that has cancer. And so we have a discount to that we can share with your listeners if they just put in the promo code CureMatch podcast.
Got it. Perfect. Well, if you enjoyed this as much as I did, show Navid your appreciation and share today's show with a friend who also appreciates good ideas. Go to aimedglobal.com and learn more about what we've been talking about today. If you do know somebody who's fighting cancer, tell us again where they go and what the code is, Navid.
If you go to CureMatch, there's a Gift of CureMatch campaign, and you'll see that. And there's a promo code you could put in, CureMatch podcast, for that discount.
Perfect. Excellent. We'll list those in the notes of the show as well. Thanks again, Navid.
Thank you, George.
And until next time, remember, do your part by doing your best.